Assalamu alaikum. My presentation for my final project is about the Akan drum, which is considered to be a significant historical artifact. The Akan drum is a drum that was made in West Africa and was later found in the colony of Virginia in North America during the transatlantic trade slave. It is now the oldest African American object in the British Museum and is possibly the oldest surviving anywhere. The original drum is made of wood, vegetable fiber, and deer skin. It was originally collected by Reverend Mr. Clerk on behalf of Sir Hans Sloane, founder of the British Museum. It is one of the earliest known surviving African American objects. The significance of the drum is that it is a reminder of all three continents' involvements in the estimated 12 million people who were transported across the Atlantic as part of the transatlantic slave trade. The drum today symbolizes the importance of music in African America, both now and at the time of the slave trade. Back when the slave trade was going on, all the slaves on the plantations weren't able to speak their own languages because the owners of the plantations would bring slaves from different countries, thus raising a language barrier. So slaves, it was harder for them to communicate with each other because they didn't have similar languages. And the Akan drum gave them a platform to communicate together through their times of oppression and slavery. Also, slaves during the transatlantic, during the slave period in the 1700s and 18th century, they weren't allowed to practice their own religions, and instead their religious traditions were replaced with Christian traditions, and that's where that gave rise to gospel music. The Akan drum also has massive influence of African and African American music on most popular music from the 20th century onwards, including jazz, blues, R&B, and even rock and roll. According to the time, the 18th century, which is specifically 1739, the drum was outlawed in the colony of Georgia, and because it incited rebellion on the plantations. So when it was banned, it was replaced, like the Akan drum was replaced by hand clapping, body clapping, and rhythmic dancing. This form of dancing was one of the first forms of tap dancing as well. Along with the banning of the drumming on the plantations, buck and wing was developed, which involved striking your toe or heel on the floor, and that was actually one of the first instances of tap dancing. The Akan drum shows that it gave way for protest music, and it had links to gospel and spiritual music. The civil rights movement was proclaimed as one of the greatest singing movements in the U.S., and Martin Luther King was supported by freedom songs as well, freedom songs that were created by the slaves. The main significance of the Akan drum was that it gave way for music, and it gave way for communication between people who were in the same situation and who were oppressed and were consequently slaves and could not communicate with each other, but they could communicate through the use of the drum and the use of traditional music. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.